Hello world, welcome to the welcome to the 74th Climate Change Emergency Awareness Protest. I was off on my numbers when I posted earlier this week. I thought it was the 75th climate change protest. In reality, it's the 74th. So after a while, you start losing count as to what's happening and the lack of action going on, and the days blend into weeks, and you lose track due to this coronavirus lockdown thing. So I apologize for that. So it's number 74. Next week will be number 75. Presently is May 8th, 2020. I'm here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And as I said, I'm locked down in my house, or we are, Tanya and I are. We go to the grocery store if we need to, or the Tractor Supply to get supplies for the dogs and chickens. But other than that, we don't get out. So it's maybe once every 2 weeks we get out and go shopping quickly. And we do it early in the morning before everyone else gets out so that the germs aren't flying everywhere. And we wear face masks and gloves and whatnot. And it's a very different time, strange times for sure. Presently, the CO2 level is 415 parts per million. It goes up to 418, 419, and then back down to 415. So it's variable. I think a lot of it has to do with jet transportation as well as manufacturing. It's causing a very variable in the climate change, or in the CO2 levels in the atmosphere. But regardless of whatever the numbers are, it's splitting hairs. 415, 418 is just horrendous, and that only 280 and below is survivable, and that having a stable climate. And as we're seeing today here and for the next 5 days, it has been very cold since the last 2 weeks, and especially cold starting today. It'll be tonight will be in 31 degrees, which is 1 degree below freezing in our area. So now I have to tarp up all our plants and everything, and put pots over them to make sure they don't freeze or get burned or die. And then every night will be like that for the next 5 days. And the reason behind it, I believe, is that the cold air was very locked in over the North Pole over the winter, and now there's been a very much of a warming segment to the environment, the atmosphere, due to heating up in Siberia, and warm air is pushing up into the Arctic, as is a high pressure over Alaska, and it's pushing the cold air down out of the Arctic. So it's definitely a climate change situation, and people in the media don't understand that this cold weather that's going on is a part of climate change, and that you're going to end up with food insecurity, and you can't depend on the weather to grow food. And it's going to be a problem in the future, and you could end up, as I said, with deluges. I said that before. Deluges, floods, drought, fire, insects, pandemics, whatever. I mean, anything's possible now. So as I said, we're stuck at home. The interesting thing about the whole coronavirus issue and things being shut down is that now there's an oil glut going on, and the price of oil was down to negative $37 a barrel. In other words, they were paying people or organizations to take the oil off of them at minus $37 a barrel. And now it's back up to $24 a barrel. So it's interesting that the oil is not being used at a high rate anymore until this situation's over and manufacturing goes up online full tilt. So it's a lesson in economics, and I don't know how you go to college and become an economics major in this crazy time. I mean, I don't think any model holds true anymore, supply, demand, and all that stuff. And everything's out the window. The stock market has gone from 29,000 points down to 18,000 points. Now it's back up to 24,000 points or so, which is it dropped. I think that would be like a 30% drop. Or no, I'm sorry, a 37% drop, and then now it's down 20% from where it was at its high. So everything's affected by it, and the stock market basically is a house of cards, and a lot of it's built on nothing and speculation. Same as oil. These are future oil prices. It's not what's happening right now. So actually, there's still a glut on. There's thousands of tankers, oil tankers, that are stranded around the world that they can't dump their oil anywhere because no one wants it, and it's also there's a glut, and that there's nowhere to store the oil. So right now, unemployment in the United States is 30 million plus people. In my mind, that at the present time, hold on here, my battery's low. I gotta hit the button. 1 second. So right now 30 million people are out of job that are just reporting unemployment, being unemployed. However, there's partial unemployment, which is they're not getting a full day's wages, or they're only working a couple hours, or people don't apply or have not been able to apply for unemployment. So my guess is, instead of being the 20% that they're reporting, or 23%, my guess is it's closer to 30% unemployment. I mean, we know a ton of people that are out of work and just stuck. They cannot work, and they have no income right this second, which is really scary. Hopefully they'll get unemployment eventually or something to help them get by. But right now we're all willing to do this and settle for a minimal amount of income, to get by, and rather than questioning the system of capitalism and what's working and what's not. Right now, the coronavirus is mutating. It has a new mutation, especially in the United States, and it's more contagious. So it looks like there could be a second round of very contagious coronavirus. It'll come to be eventually. Coronavirus is basically the on-ramp to climate change, in that the shelves have been mostly empty. A lot of shelves, paper towels and food and meats and things like that have been empty in many stores, and it's an indication of what could happen with climate change, in that you're going to have food insecurity, manufacturing insecurity, all sorts of insecurities, and things will change. And it's an opportunity right now to adjust our system, our capitalist system, and try to have a safety net for everybody, and that when things go wrong, it's not so devastating. But right now, there are opportunities being squandered. All Trump wants to do is send people back to work, and it's understandable. But he sent them right into Hell's Acre. Nothing has changed. There's no new cures. There's no new hospitals. There's no new triage tents that are permanent. All sorts of things. And when the next wave hits, it's going to be worse and devastating for the health community. And I really suspect it's going to be a disastrous situation, because they're not planning for the future. They're thinking about now and now only, because our president is a small child, spoiled child, who sees one thing myopically and does not anticipate things happening in the future. And it's really a bad situation that way, that you have a leader that will blindly lead you over a cliff. So it's it's something to deal with. Right now, a lot of our friends are dealing with unemployment. As I said, they're facing despair, in that they feel there's no way out. And when is this going to end? I have no clue. Usually, I can give a estimate and come up with an idea of what's going to happen, but right now, I have no idea. I mean, it's just, this is going to continue on. It looks like for months, if not years, until they get a vaccine. Which I'm not too fond of vaccines, because I don't trust them. So it's like, you go first and let's see what happens to you, and then I'll wait and then get a vaccine. But, they're being put into a life-threatening situation. So do you get the vaccine that's untested or not tested for years, or do you jump in and get the vaccine? And, I don't know. It's a scary time as to what's happening. And as I said, I have no solutions to it. We do have an opportunity that's being lost, though, as happened in 2008 under Obama, was that you have a chance to make the auto industry up their gas mileage requirements up to 50 miles a gallon when they come back online. And you could have green energy going, which is not always the best answer. It does require a certain amount of fossil fuels to manufacture the green energy, but it's the only solution we have right this second. We need alternative energy, and to do that, you need scientists to come together and people to come together and come up with ideas as to what to do. Often science fiction ends up being employed in real life. And if people have crazy ideas, or kids even have wild ideas, sometimes it's possible to reverse manufacture and come up with that idea as to how to employ it. So my big thing has been the Tesla Tower by Nikola Tesla, not Elon Musk, which was free energy from the electromagnetism of the Earth, and using those to shoot the electricity through the atmosphere and have a receiver on the other end that could deploy the electricity. Every car, every house could have a receiver on it, and it'd be free energy to everyone else. But evidently the government back in the 1940s, I believe it was, when Tesla died, took all of his files and all of his notebooks. So we'll never know what amazing things he came up with. Right now, as I said, the capitalistic system is not going to work. You cannot have people winning and people losing in a situation like this, or what's coming in the near future, and I mean like 2026. You can't have winners and losers. You got to have a safety net for everybody, or people are going to die by the millions or billions. And it kind of looks like that's where we're headed if we don't get our act together as human beings and stop being inhuman to each other. And I mean the people in charge. And the only way the people in charge come in line is to people in the grassroots, such as us, vote for the right people and don't vote for lesser two evils, because evil is evil no matter what. What happens when you vote for lesser two evils? Whatever party you're in and you vote for that person, you're saying to that party, it's okay if you move farther and farther to the right. And in reality, you need a party that will move farther to the left, and that having socialism, safety nets, a common safety for everyone, a common lookout for everyone. And that's what socialism is. You know, it can be democratic socialism or straight up socialism, I don't care. But right now, this capitalistic system is you win, I lose, or I win and you lose, is not a good thing to have. It's not Christian either. It's not anything. It's not any religion. Any major religion does not believe in that. You know, everyone's your friend. Everyone's your family member. We're all connected. And to have this capitalistic, all-out capitalism system, when you know, it flies in the face of Christianity. You know, it's not taking care of your brother. It's not treating a stranger as your friend or anything like that. So, you know, we all need to look in the mirror and go, are we really doing the right thing right now with what we want and what we desire? So it's a time of reevaluation as to you know, checking things out and looking into ourselves, and then looking at our politicians to see if they're really on board with us or not. You know, right now the path we're on, we're basically like Easter Island or like Lemmings, in that we need 4 Earths to survive right now, and you don't have 4 Earths. There are no planet Bs, no planet Cs, no planet Ds, and we're eating up the resources at a ridiculous rate. And like the Lemmings, we will have a crash, and we can't keep going this way. As far as the election in the fall, I don't like saying who I'm in favor of or whatever. It's kind of obvious that I don't believe in either party right now, and I doubt I ever will again, because they won't change. But you have to look at the nightmarish monsters that are being put out there, and you know, basically, and I'm offending you, I'm sure, because most people are in the Democratic or Republican Party, which, as I said, I don't believe in anymore. But consider this. You know, both parties are all about corporations. It showed in the last Senate vote for the bailout, where it's 96-0, where most of the money, trillions of dollars, went to corporations. Both parties and nominees are in favor of Wall Street. Both parties are heavily into the military, which is spending at a ridiculous rate, and you wonder why we don't have money. There it goes. They're both, they're both have had a crime and punishment system where 3 strikes and you're out, which was brought about by the Democrats under the Clinton crime bill, which put a huge amount of black men in jail. And they're all about, you know, crime and punishment, rather than, you know, re-education or a leniency program. You know, if someone has 3 joints on their hand, you know, just should they go to jail for a year? You know, most people in jail evidently have not even had a trial. What they do is they trump up charges on them, and they plea bargain them down, saying, okay, you can get out of jail right now if you plead guilty, and you could get out in 6 months rather, or you could stay here for a year and then have a trial in a year. And if you lose the trial, you really get nailed by the judge. So a lot of people plea bargained away their freedom in order to get out earlier. And so if you look at the jail sentences, a lot of them have been in jail without having a trial, which is kind of weird that America, who has the biggest incarceration rate in the whole world by far, is this way, that they're allowing that to happen. No speedy trials, no nothing. Something is broken in the system. So a lot of the climate change, you know, situation involves you and me and everyone else. We all have to have the courage to face up to what is happening and not take things for granted, and willing to stand out in the face of our friends or family who have criticized me relentlessly. I mean, they've criticized me much more than strangers. I mean, it's crazy as to how bad my own relatives or family or friends have been towards things, and as opposed to getting on board and saying, hey, yeah, you're right, we need to change, we need to get on board with this and try to save everyone's kids. You know, they're saying I go about it the wrong way, I'm too blunt, and you're probably right, I am too blunt. But it takes courage to be able to stand up here and be willing to sacrifice, you know, friendships or whatever, because people are too judgmental and not willing to step out themselves and do something themselves. You know, you could criticize all you want, but unless you're willing, I'm talking to the people that aren't on board. Most of you people here are obviously in the same vein of thought that I am. But you know, if you have to have the courage to stand out and tell the truth as to what's happening. It is very blunt talk. It's very depressing talk, but it is reality. You have to have enough courage to turn around and face the tiger that's coming at you. If you keep running, the tiger will jump on your back. You cannot outrun this tiger of climate change. It will come and it will get you. And you know, continue to run away from the problem and not face it or criticize people that are actually doing something is really wimpy and not courageous at all. And if you got a better answer what to do, then I really suggest to friends and family that you do it. Okay, if you think art, do it through art. Do it through music. Do it through acting. Cartoons, whatever. Do your thing. Do your part. Okay. You know, I don't know that too many other people around here that are doing a climate change thing, other than my wife. So you know, I really beg you, for your own children's sake and kids that you might know, the next 5 generations or 7 generations, you need to get out and do something. And as I said, I know I'm preaching to the choir because most of you have already turned out that don't give 2 shits about it, what's happening. So the question is, a lot of things is, where do you see us in 10 years? Do you see us continuing on this way, or do you see a big change coming? And if you see a change coming, don't you want to be the change and try to form that change in a certain direction rather than accept it and just vote every 4 years and say, oh, the next person will change things? And they don't. It's lip service. You need to go on what past performances happen with your politicians as opposed to what they're saying they're going to do. You need to really look at the history of these guys that are running for office, and I mean local, state, and national, as to what they have done as opposed to what they say they're going to do. Because usually a leopard doesn't change its spots. And these guys that are running and women that are running that say, and I mean women too, I've been surprised by certain women that are from New York as a congressman that have absolutely gone along the corporate way when they flew in the face of everything that was corporatist, and they, you know, that's why they got elected. Now they're playing the old game they are playing with their own leaders or politicians rather than calling them out and being a pain in their side. They're more worried about getting reelected than to doing the right thing, and it's sad. Smiles over actions. That's what I'm saying. If past performance indicates that their smiles aren't in line with it, then something's up. Okay, I'll save you. I'll work for you. I'll fight hard for you. And if they haven't ever done that, you know it's not true. Okay, so you need to really look at that. As I said, blunt talk hurts, and you know, it's painful for me to do this, and I really wish everyone would step on board. Thousands would get on media, especially around here, and take up the mantle and actually talk about climate change and what's happening, because I'm tired. This is my 74th of these, and actually we've gotten farther away from getting any solution done and then getting closer to it. The CO2 rate keeps growing, and I'm tired of carrying the football. It kind of hurts when you're getting tackled all the time, or no one's paying attention to the game you're playing. And I know I'm doing the right thing for myself and kids and everyone else, but it's hard to keep going like this. You know, I'm looking at next week's 75th one of these, and I don't look at it as an accomplishment. I look at it as a medal of failure, and that I can't get the point across to people. In fact, I've ostracized more family and friends than anything, and you know, people are more attached to their politicians, and how dare you say about my politician, than the actual person who's related to you or is a friend of yours. And you know, the politician in the long run doesn't care about you, and you know, the sooner you come to realize that, or maybe you won't ever realize that, you're willing to cut relationships based on, you know, your political outlook or what you're saying, you know. But my heart is good with this. I sleep like a baby at night because of it, and I guess other people do too, because they're okay with trying to tear people down. They're actually trying to get things done. So my whole thrust, other than it being this big ego trip that I'm having right now, is to just say, you know, you need to do the right thing and look at yourself in the mirror, and also look at your politician and their history as to what is happening with them. And somehow we're 5 months away from the presidential election, and we're down to 2 monsters. So, you know, you look at their past history, and it's really a disgusting thing. Yeah, some have done wonderful things, but we're down to 2 monsters. And you know, I'll go head to head with anyone and point out exactly what happened, you know, with them and their political careers and what they're doing now. And it's not a good situation, and there's no option out for the majority parties. And whether you continue to stay in these 2 parties, Republican and Democrat, in the United States, is up to you. I mean, I'm not going to throw you off as friends because you're a Republican or a Democrat. You know, I look at you as a person, and if you're an asshole, then I'll get rid of you. But other than that, you know, I see the good in everyone as far as that goes. And you know, whether you can look yourself in the mirror is up to you. You know, whether you continue down this road of the parties. But I really implore you to look at these people's history and their voting and what they've done, and actions they've taken while in the White House or in Congress or whatever else, or out in the normal world. So the big thing, the positive thing I'm leaving today is that today, this is No Mow May, and I'm sure no one will do this, but evidently there's a push for people not to mow their lawns in May. And hopefully weeds will grow and flowers and whatnot in your lawn, and you can actually help the bees get through the transition period when summer kicks in, their actual flowers. So it's No Mow May. That means don't put down any insecticides, don't put down any fertilizer, don't put down any weed killer in your lawn, don't mow your lawn, save the environment. Lawnmowers are a huge pollutant, and these are little things we can all do right now. So I hope you all have a good week. Stay healthy. It's a very scary time, as I said, and hopefully I'll be healthy enough, and Tanya will be healthy enough that we'll be on board next week, and we can give the 75th climate change talk. And I'm sorry I haven't been having the 75th, because things should have changed by now, and it's sad that I have to give 75 of these things, and we're still no closer to the end. So I'll catch you next week. See ya.